Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I'm Braden. This is Tim. This is Second Legacy, and thank you for showing up. We have got to do something this morning. We love it and we hate it. Davey Hogg went on TV again. Tim, he did. We got to talk about it because it's just, at this point, it's getting nauseating. I can't wait to walk through this with you guys. So if you guys are enjoying this channel, the whole theme, the layout, the love, the sarcasm, the comedy, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. We're going to say a quick word from our sponsor, and then we're going to go hog wild. And the content today is brought to you by a sponsor, Ammo Squared. Now, this is such an interesting idea, guys. We're talking about retirement accounts for your ammo. It's a thing. This is something you guys definitely at least look at if you're interested.
So what's really cool about it is you can tell Ammo Squared what type of ammunition you want, and it'll automatically purchase that ammunition throughout the month. You can also sell the ammunition back if you don't want it, or you can just say, send it to me now, and they'll hold it for you. They'll store it for free, and they'll ship it to you whenever you request it. There's so many cool features about this service. You really need to check them out at ammosquared.com, and we want to thank them for sponsoring today's video.
Tim, did you like that? Hog wild?
Yeah,
did you catch that?
That was pretty
good. Did you
good.
get my reference?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no,
Thank you.
I got it. Gosh. It's not a funny joke if you got to explain it, Braden.
Oh, man. I thought I had to try.
I got it.
Okay.
I'm awake.
That's
I got
good.
my cup of coffee over here.
That's true. Hey, do you think Davey's perhaps a commie?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep, he's a commie. He hangs out with commies. He gets commies elected.
He does. You know, I've been trying to poke you, like, and just get you aggravated about the word commie in the last two filmings, and you just haven't been biting.
No. No.
It's a shame. It's always good when you go on a red rant. But anyway, the Reds.
Did you watch? Did you watch Fallout, the television series?
I did not.
Oh,
I did not.
Dude, you got to watch it because it rips on commies. Yeah, it's good stuff, man.
I'm always fighting gun controllers in my own little memoir of justice. So maybe one day, maybe I'll write a show about all this.
Did you guys?
Davey Hogg will be a main character.
The viewers, did you guys watch Fallout? Comment down below. What do you think? Outstanding series, or you could do without? I loved it. Anyway,
you could do it.
Let's talk about.
Well, I'm glad you loved it. Let's talk about the hog.
Yeah,
the high on the hog. Now here's something I want to bring up, Tim, because I think this is part of the context.
Okay.
Davey did get a little bit caught with Leaders We Deserve, only spending 10% of the donated money from grassroots on candidates, and the rest on hotels and luxury flights and meals,
and paying himself and his cohort, $40,000 a quarter,
A quarter. Yeah, good memory. Nice job. So now that we've chummed the waters with that, let's bring the sharks. Let's get into the first clip. This is on CBS News this weekend, of course, celebrating in a very macabre and weird way the Columbine 25 years anniversary, which the gun controllers all did en masse while ignoring the Memphis shooting. Anyway, other than that, let's get into number 16.
Do you think an opportunity was missed by our country to try to change policies that could have prevented the tragedy you experienced?
Absolutely. I think that there's so many times that if we had an effective government, if we had effective politicians, if we had effective leaders, that Columbine would have been the last school shooting in American history, and it could have been. But unfortunately, because of the corruption of the NRA and our special interests, our political system has been co-opted, and the consequence is deadly.
Well,
did you hear that, Tim?
Well, Davey, what possibly could you mean? Are you saying the only way I can think of where you can, in his view, not my view, in his view, the only way you can stop criminals from criminaling is to get rid of those evil devices that are possessed by evil spirits that are causing the gun violence, because the guns are the violent things. We got to get rid of the violent things in society. It's not the people, it's the guns. It's the guns, hashtag it's the guns. And so that's where he's going with this.
IOVs.
Now he'll be the first one to go out there on social media and say, "Hey, fellow gun owners, I was on the Harvard shooting team," and pose with his
I'm one of you guys.
Yeah, I like guns too. But and this is a continuing shtick on the anti-gun left to pretend to be gun owners. I was giving some politician in Missouri a hard time that ultimately banned me for it on X just recently. I'm a gun owner too, and I just want sensible legislation. You want a gun ban?
I come from a family of hunters.
Yeah.
I love eating deer. I'm a two-way supporter too. Get rid of all of them, but I love it.
Maybe I'd believe it if they did a political ad where they had a deer like tied on a short leash and they had an AR. It's like, "Hello, fellow gun owners. I like hunting too." And then just rip the deer open, eat some red meat. Yeah, it's like, I might believe him then, but I'm not buying it. So yeah, Davey is, he doesn't even realize when he's doing it, because he tries to push the reasonable restrictions nonsense. But in clips like that, he is actually saying, I want an all-out ban without saying I want an all-out ban.
Oh, absolutely.
Because there's no other way to
Absolutely.
get to the outcome that he thinks he's going to get to, which he never would, by doing an all-out ban, right?
Correct. And the thing about this is, don't you wish, Tim, we lived in a world where we could go on national TV and support our gun rights position with softball questions like that?
Oh, right.
I mean, good God.
Yeah.
It's so do you think that our freedom would still exist if we didn't have the Second Amendment?
I know.
Come on. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. It's part of the environment we live in. But to your point, we could have stopped every single shooting had the NRA not been corrupt and the government not been co-opted. Really? Well, let's go down this road, shall we? Because, Tim, you and I did a video about another Davey who runs something called the K through 12 shooting database and said that only about 2,000 of them have happened since Columbine, and 50% of them had no victim, had nothing to do with the school, and there was no one hurt.
Yeah.
So,
and
how are you going to block those, Davey?
And 8 of them since the 1990s
were mass
shootings. But I could have sworn.
Right.
Anyway, yeah. I mean, they catch themselves in their own lies.
It's all BS.
Yeah.
I almost cursed on the Tim.
Oh, you did the other day.
Oh,
I don't know if Doc bleeped it or not.
But
you have such a potty mouth.
I know.
Always. I have to mute you sometimes when we're doing pre-show.
I know. But, it's true. That's true. But you know what I love about Davey, Tim?
What? He's cockeyed like
he reminds me of he reminds me of a clip that we did that was very clearly about what they how did it go, Dr. Producer?
I know what mental illness looks like.
Yep. He reminds me of that.
It looks like Davey and Davey.
I love that clip.
The mental illness twins.
It really does.
Yeah.
I tell you what. The other thing, and before we go to the second clip, I just would like you guys to let me know in the comments on this one. And maybe, Tim, maybe you can help me out. So Davey's whole shtick, and marketing and branding is really important. Like brand recognition for what you are is hugely important, even in the political sphere. So Davey's big shtick is the disgruntled teenager. Like, I'm angry. I'm the Greta Thunberg of gun rights. And so I'm angry and I'm going to be an activist and I'm going to be and do what the adults didn't do. And that was the whole shtick when he was 17 and 18 and 19.
Now he's 30.
But now he's like 27 and he's still doing that whole like angry grunge teenager angst thing. And I'm like, bro, like now it's getting weird, man. Like you've aged out of your shtick.
Yeah.
It's odd.
A few more years, he's going to have the receding hairline and he's going to either go get plugs or something because he's got to try to play the teenager for the next 30 years.
The teenager, right?
Yeah.
It's just kind of I think that's eventually going to be his undoing. Honestly, being the whole
he's transitioning
school shooting survivor thing. He's trying to transition, and not in that way because that would be you do you. Boo.
Well, that's
but
yet
to be
seen.
Transition. that's true. That's fair. But. God, dude, I can't go down any of the ways I want to go there.
That's all on you. That's all on you.
I know. And I am pulling a U-turn. You hear the U-Haul backing up. You hear the beeper. But I don't know. I just think he's outgrowing the teenage angst shtick. Anyway, he's gonna be like the first 50-year-old balding teenage angst school shooting survivor.
He's moving over to general politics. He's doing a great job. He's raised $3 million. He's given $200,000 out to actual candidates, and the rest of it he's put in his pocket. I mean, the guy's doing great. I mean, he's really got the politics down, especially on the left side of the house.
He's doing great things.
Yeah, steal and extort as much money as you possibly can, then disappear onto an island somewhere. It's I'm not going there. I'm not going there.
We have got to turn. Okay, we're going to go to the second clip and start our brains different ways.
Talk to us about when you look at the legacy of Columbine, what has changed?
Well, I mean, we've been able to pass gun laws around the country in state legislatures, especially where we've seen the most action, even in places like Florida that were entirely controlled at the time following the shooting at my high school by a Republican state legislature. We were able to raise the age to buy guns to 21, and we were able to change gun laws there and pass a red flag law. And just recently, after Uvalde, we saw the first passage of a gun law in 30 years that closed the boyfriend loophole that enabled the Columbine shooters to be armed in the first place. That should have happened decades ago, and I'm glad that it's now happened, but we still have so much more work that we have to do.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Uh-huh.
I mean, he's on course. I mean, Davey over at Cave 12 Database is out of a job because they passed the most comprehensive gun laws in 30 years. Criminals can't get guns anymore. That's what he was saying. But then he stopped. Then he goes, "Oh, but you know what? We got a lot further to go.
So much more work to do.
Yeah.
I still have a purpose.
We saved
guys.
the
Let's
world.
Not get crazy.
We saved the world with the most comprehensive gun laws in the world. I mean, it's all over now. K-12 database can go away. There'll never be another school shooting. We closed the gun show loophole. But you know what? We recognize there's still going to be more shootings. We got so much further to go. Because how much further do they have to go, folks? In their minds, bans.
Yeah. So what?
How's that working out in Australia?
Things.
Didn't they just have a stabbing that killed 6 people in Australia?
Yeah.
Working great down there.
Happened. But Tim, though, hold on. Imagine how much worse it could have been.
Yeah.
With guns.
If they would have
covered that. We did.
If they would have had suppressors on those knives, it could have been far worse.
That's right. Could have been much worse. Never would have seen it coming.
Yeah.
Yep. The thing that stand out, there's so much in this clip, dude. First of all, you jumped on the obvious glaring, and I love that you did. We passed the most comprehensive gun control legislation, gun safety legislation on record in 30 years. It's so amazing. But don't think you don't need us still, because there's so much more work to do. It's the biggest. It's please be engaged, but so don't disengage because we're winning too much. But we're winning just enough. We're making some progress where you still need me and I can still get a paycheck. It is the most disingenuous BS that has ever existed. And the other thing that I love about that, Tim, did you know that if the boyfriend loophole had not been closed, Columbine never would have happened?
I know. If they just would have.
The boyfriend loophole.
Is that what he said? Boyfriend?
Yeah, the boyfriend loophole. That thing that Chris Murphy and all the gun controllers
that's a new one.
Go insane about the boyfriend loophole. Yeah. Oh no, it's one of their main things. The boyfriend loophole was the idea that if. Well, no, I get it. Gun shows there too, but that was a generational thing. So the boyfriend loophole is a new thing, right? So they started hitting this in the last 5 years. The boyfriend loophole is effectively this. If you have a restraining order against you and you're married to a person, then they're going to take your guns because you're a threat. But if you're a boyfriend or a live-in boyfriend or something, then you aren't married, so they can't do those things to you. That's effectively what it is because of a boyfriend versus marriage, right? So they say, well, if the boyfriend had just been closed in 1998, then Columbine wouldn't have happened. The only problem is those kids were underage. What the actual F are you talking about?
Yeah. I don't know.
Those little psychopaths they didn't go into gun shops and buy those guns.
No, according to Davey, it was a gun show loophole that allowed them to get them. They never would have been able to get them otherwise. I mean, now that that's closed, we're all safe. We can. Stupid. Yeah, I mean, Giffords can go home now.
But don't forget about me, though.
Yeah. Hey, fellow gun owners, we got more to do.
Oh my God, dude. It's the most disingenuous grift that has ever existed. And he's the worst at it. This is what's so fascinating to me about it. He gets to stay as the March for Our Lives Gen Z face of gun control. He is by far the worst at conveying the message because he's so all over the place.
Yeah.
He's like, I love guns. Guns are here. We need to have guns. Oh my God, we're not done yet. Like, what are you talking about?
Well, he's not done. He's got a whole life of grift he has to carry out. So he's going to be grift as a grifter does.
Oh my goodness!
There's lots of money to be made in politics, Braden. All you got to do is just get people to donate
$3 million in your first year as a PAC. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we go to the third clip and wrap this up?
Okay.
Do you feel like these changes, and you've been successful a lot on the state and local level, but do you feel like on par they have been sufficient given what you're up against?
Certainly not. We still are making more progress than we ever have, but it's not anywhere near enough given the staggering amount of gun violence that we are seeing in this country. Even though the numbers that you just talked about in terms of how many school shootings there are, how many children have been impacted by this and their teachers too, we have seen since the passage of the Safer Communities Act in many major cities around the United States, double-digit declines in the gun homicide rate. And is that perfect? Is that ending all gun violence? Certainly not, but that's still progress. And we can't stop until no person has to fear gun violence in their communities. But we have to also acknowledge there is a small amount of progress that is being made here.
I don't think they realize.
How is that for a benchmark?
I don't think they realize just how stupid their argument is. They're like self-defeating themselves. Like they say, yes. we want reasonable restrictions for gun violence. So they're placing the violence at the feet of the guns. The guns are the violent things. The guns are the ones that cause violence. Guns enable violence. So it's all about the guns. Hashtag it's the guns. But we don't want to ban guns. We just want reasonable restrictions. So how do you reconcile that? It's either guns are evil and they cause crime, so you got to get rid of all of them, or you don't really believe that, and you just want reasonable restrictions, like you can't buy a gun until you're 21. You
take them all.
Yeah, I mean, clearly the lesser measures of, all this craziness they've done, closing the gun show loophole, the most comprehensive gun control in years, and raising the age to 21, and all this stuff. But it's just not enough, folks. We just got to go further because hashtag it's the guns. So they're telling you right up front by saying it's the guns that they want to get rid of all the guns. But then he tries to walk it back and play the moderate, right? Fellow gun people.
Exactly. That's part of his problem is he cannot thread that needle. He doesn't have the ability because he's got such an emotional extreme every time. He'll go with, well, I got real Southern. What the heck did you hear that? Every time. I said. He goes all the way to it's the effing guns and a profanity-laden tirade on Twitter. Yeah. And then on the other side, he'll be like, but you know what? I don't want to get rid of the Second Amendment because it's essential. And that's part of our framers' founding. I just want common sense. It's like, bro, you are all over the map.
Yeah.
So the other thing that I really love of what he said, two things that stuck out that I just the first one, we cannot stop until no one has any fear of gun violence. Wow.
That's a benchmark.
I mean,
yeah,
that's quite the benchmark.
Well, again, he's defeating his own argument.
So we're going to continue.
Yeah.
Exactly. So anytime someone says, I have fear of gun violence, is Davey going to show up like Quail Man?
Gun control. We got
gun control boy. We have a scared person. Stat 2319. I mean, like, if you've seen Monsters, Inc., that was a good reference. But, like, genuinely, what are you going to do? Like, is it going to be a fear phone? Like, I'm afraid right now. Like, what? That doesn't even make sense. I'm afraid. Well, 45% of your constituency on the left is afraid of everything. So that's going to be a bit of an issue. And then the other thing that just drives me bananas is we did pass the Safer Communities Act, and we've seen double-digit decreases in gun violence and homicide. You mother, father, brother, sister, cousin. That has nothing to do with what just happened, and you are claiming that you guys did it when you said when that bill passed, it was going to do nothing but a first step. Oh!
Yeah. He also took credit for taking down the NRA, but he still blames the NRA for everything. But it wasn't him or his cohorts that took down the NRA. It was gun owners because they weren't doing their jobs. That's why everybody switched over to GOA and FPC. It's because the NRA is inefficient. Right. They had nothing to do with it. Wayne LaPierre killed the NRA, and gun owners killed the NRA. But they'll go out there and take credit for it. Like, look, we shut down the NRA. We passed the most comprehensive gun control in 30 years. We've saved the world. Meanwhile, we have much more to do.
And all we're doing is we're over here on the gun rights side. Like, keep on focusing on that empty shell of nothing. Make sure you keep on going after the NRA. We're like the chest poppers. We're like Alien. Like they killed the monster and they go pop. like GOA, FPC pops out.
Yeah.
There's a million of them.
They're everywhere.
Indeed there is.
Anyway.
Indeed there is.
Well, thanks, Davey, for another wonderful episode. We love you, buddy.
So good.
Keep out there on the streets, grifting and taking money and misusing it with your pack. You're doing a bang-up job.
I know what mental illness looks like.
See, even Dr. Producer had to get in on that. Because, what's Gavin always say, Tim? What's Gavin always say?
That's true. Because it's true.
That's right. There you go.
And on that note, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you guys soon.